take us back to your 30-year-old self. Paint the picture. Where were you living? What were you doing day to day?
Yeah. So I'm 35 now, so not too long ago.
No.
Yeah. Just moved to Bristol in my 30s. I would have just had my second son, Nelson. He was born just as we moved to Bristol. He's 5 now, and my eldest, Freddie, is 6. Yeah, that was my family setup. I was living with their mum at the time. We're no longer together now, but yeah, that was sort of my family setup. And at the time, I had a coffee business, so I started Wayland's Yard in 2016 after I retired from rugby, and grew that to 3 restaurants. And then we also then opened a coffee roasters called Odkin, which was about the same time as I moved to Bristol. I decided to have a child, move house, and start a second business all in the same month. So that was a bit busy
Okay, what do
one,
you want about that?
not one I'd recommend.
No. So going back to that time, what were you quietly worried about at that time?
So I would have, yeah, it's about 5. I would have been about 5 years into my business post retiring from rugby. I was stuck in this cycle of growth for the sake of growth. Well, I believed it was going to bring me happiness and fulfillment. I just kept setting markers and milestones further and further off into the distance. And every time I hit them, I actually felt worse because I ran out of a little bit of hope every time. I think I had this idea that when I opened my first coffee shop, that would be, I'd feel fulfilled and I'd feel complete, and I didn't. And then I go to, well, I must have to open a second one. And I felt worse when I opened the second one. And then it's like, well, when we hit 1 million in revenue, when we hit 2 million in revenue, and I kept moving through all these markers, and I just started to feel more and more empty and hollow the more I achieved. And the more I was starting to realize probably in my 30s that maybe I was playing the wrong game.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it? I mean, so how did you measure success at that time? Were you seeing that as something? How did you measure its success from that time? And do you have a very different definition now?
Yes. Yeah. So for me, success then was I think I felt so, yeah, my whole thing growing up was a feeling of not being good enough. And so I was, through my rugby career, through my entrepreneurial career, I was constantly trying to create this outward image of success, which was, I was just playing the game that we're taught to play of the bigger your business, or the more medals you win, the better your life is, in inverted commas, or the more successful I was. So I was very deep into that game of how am I being perceived